It's that time of the year again. With the Super Bowl now in the rearview, the NFL as a whole shifts gears toward the waves of free agency with the goal of hopefully improving whatever prevented each respective team from hoisting the Lombardi trophy. What began as another lost year for the Dallas Cowboys in 2018 morphed into anything but, and their appearance in the NFC Divisional Round was a step forward over the wild-card appearance they landed in 2016. The good news for the organization is they don't have nearly as many holes to fill in 2019 as compared to just 1 year prior, with rookie sensation Leighton Vander Esch being the poster boy for how to land a jackpot fix for a positional need. To lesser, but still praiseworthy degree, second-year standouts Xavier Woods and Blake Jarwin also made their presence felt, the latter taking longer to finally do so. With the first wave of free agency approaching, the top priority will be to re-sign top in-house talent, but there will also be several chances for the Cowboys to also reel in proven players who can help their cause. With anything, however, there are levels to how each should be categorized and approached, but any of the following would be a fit for the coming season. This is a wish list, of sorts, and includes those rumored to be free agents in the near future. He may be an in-house free agent, but he's the most coveted on the market in 2019. Before the Cowboys can even think about going after anyone else on this list, they better get Lawrence locked in. It may come by way of hitting him with a second franchise tag to prevent him from negotiating with other teams and then following it up not long after with a monster extension, or giving him the extension outright, and the latter would be the more advisable road to prevent creating any tension in an otherwise stellar relationship. Lawrence will likely hold out if he's tagged and the Cowboys drag their heels on his new contract, especially if the talks stretch into the summer. The veteran has 25 sacks in the last 2 seasons and is just 26 years old, younger than others who've landed big money deals with less production. It's time to pay the homegrown piper. My projection for Lawrence's new deal is here. It feels like forever ago when NFL headlines were dominated by talk of a potential trade that would send All-Pro safety Earl Thomas from the Seahawks to North Texas. The initial trade offer occurred in April 2018, and included a third-rounder that was shunned by Seattle. Following months of no discussions but relentless headlines, the Cowboys caved and upped their offer in September to a second-rounder, but the Seahawks again slammed the door in their face, instead opting to very nearly send Thomas to the Kansas City Chiefs for the same compensation. It was a message sent and received, with Thomas having spoiled his own dinner by painting the Seahawks into a media corner and using the Cowboys as the gallon of Glidden. The entire storyline imploded when the veteran broke his leg just before the Chiefs could obtain him, finishing the season on injured reserve. Now a free agent, barring an unlikely franchise tag, the Cowboys can and will approach Thomas with the mission of completing their goal from 2018. The price might be a little more favorable, or maybe not so much considering both the 49ers, Falcons others will bid for his services as well, but at least they won't also have cough up a top draft pick in the deal. Earl Thomas isn't the only dominant safety taking calls. Collins will hit the free agency market unless the Giants pull the trigger on a franchise tag to keep him from going anywhere, but that would be pricey. It'd cost New York just under $11.3 million in fully guaranteed money, and that's assuming he signs the tender. Another option would be to non-exclusive tag him and allow him to talk to other teams, yet having the right to match any offer sheet and grab 2 first-round picks if they choose to let him walk. The least likely tag to be used as the transition tag, because the Giants wouldn't receive compensation for losing Collins despite having right to first refusal. Whereas Thomas will hit the market outright, unless the Seahawks have gone stark raving mad and choose to tag him. The chances of Collins freeing up are slimmer, but still possible. If there's a chance the Cowboys can go after him, they very well should, because he's a hard-hitting All-Pro safety and 3-time Pro Bowler who's only 25 years old and fills a dire need at the strong safety position. He's also more durable than Thomas, and that's sort of a big deal that deserves a big deal. Clinton Dix is a name to watch, mostly because he's a high-talent safety who will be less expensive than Collins, albeit also not as potent. Having now also spent time with the Redskins following a trade from the Packers in 2018, there's the added incentive of him bring enemy intel with a deal, and that certainly doesn't hurt his value. What does hurt it, however, is knowing that, in all likelihood, the Cowboys might be able to land Thomas for less than what it'd cost to bring Clinton Dix on board, mostly because the latter is only 26 years old and a former first-round pick who has never missed a single game in his 5 NFL seasons. Durability like that combines with his 456 career tackles and 14 interceptions to push his contract ask above that of an aging future Hall of Famer in Thomas, who is also coming off of yet another injury. Admittedly, of the 3 first-wave safety options I've listed, this would be my third option for the Cowboys. It's still one I'd entertain heavily, though. The Rams want to keep Joyner around, and for good reason. The problem for them is they'll now have to contend with other teams who want to land him, because tagging him a second time isn't in the blueprint for what the Rams are looking to do when it comes to their salary cap. The former second-round pick converted successfully from slot corner to free safety under the tutelage of defensive coordinator Wade Phillips, and has 4 interceptions with 109 return yards to go along with them in the last 2 seasons since making the change. Joyner plays sideline to sideline on a weekly basis, as evidenced in his stat line that includes 78 combined tackles, and will give Thomas, Collins and Clinton Dix some real competition in this year's marketplace. For the Cowboys, it wouldn't hurt to take a Phillips product and marry him to Chris Richard, who also has a knack for leveling up talent. The pricing for Joyner will be around $10 million per season, more expensive than Thomas but on par with Collins and Clinton Dix, and he brings just as much firepower to the table. What makes him a tad less attractive, however, is his age. He'll be 29 years old before the 2019 season concludes, and that will inevitably be a talking point. That said, I'd still start talking. Remember this guy. Beasley wants more opportunities per game, and that's not asking too much when considering what he does when granted them. The 29-year-old enters free agency with a market already in place for his skill set, and players, along with fans of particular teams, lobbying for his attention. The most notable is Donald Driver, former 3-time Pro Bowl wideout of the Packers, who offered to give Beasley a ride to Wisconsin. The Cowboys know what they have in Beasley, given the right play calling and scheme, so the expectation remains they'll make another offer to keep him in tow, given how things have obviously degraded between him and the club. However, the bell may have just told on one solid relationship. The evidence to that point is easily found in his voiced frustrations, but he's also left the window open for a potential return in 2019. One of the best slot receivers in the game who also has one of the lowest drop rates of any wideout in the NFL. You combine those facts with the reality Beasley is uncoverable in open space and can take the top off of a defense when asked to do so. See Week 17 for reference, and keeping him on board would keep a top weapon of Prescott's on board while also saving the Cowboys from having to locate his successor. And no, Tavon Austin is not Beasley's successor, in case you were wondering. Should they lose out on Beasley though, another name comes to mind that plugs right into what they'd need to accomplish at the position. That name, ladies and gentlemen, is Golden Tate. There's a reason Cowboys fans loathe the veteran wide receiver, and, ironically, those are some of the reasons it'd serve the team well to have them in their corner. Tate was traded by the Lions to the Eagles only days after Amari Cooper landed in Dallas via Oakland, and many believed it was the Cowboys who were fleeced for a first-round pick while the Eagles came out of top giving up a third-round pick for Tate. Those individuals have crow feathers stuck in their gullet now though, because Cooper went on to his third 1,000-yard season and his third Pro Bowl nod while the Eagles struggled to figure out what to do with Tate. His targets eventually grew, but slowly, and the lack of chemistry was evident throughout the arranged marriage. Assuming Beasley walks, and that is a safe assumption, Tate would instantly fill the void at the slot position, one he's thrived in at the NFL level. His toughness and grit also mirrors that of Beasley, and while he's not exactly a choir boy on the field, this is professional football, not Bible study. Additionally, Tate probably wouldn't mind burning the Eagles a bit with a move to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys would certainly love to also pick his brain about the inner workings in Philadelphia, because the enemy of your enemy is your friend, a Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion and receiver who has racked up numbers on against the Cowboys on more than one occasion. He's proven and ready to re-establish himself after a bad union with the Eagles. Cooper and Tate on the same team, after the trades were pitted against each other so feverishly only a few months prior. Now that's a plot twist. __ you know him well. Much like Tate, Jackson has burned his name into the mind of every Cowboys fan on the globe from his time with the Eagles. Having now been with the Buccaneers for several seasons, the losing and questionable QB play ultimately forced Jackson to want out of Tampa Bay during the 2018 season, although he's pulled back on those reins a bit this offseason. That won't change the math in this equation though, with Jackson sitting in the same boat as Gerald McCoy, salary cap-wise. The veteran speedster will cost the Buccaneers a cool $10 million in 2019, and they would suffer $0 in dead money by letting him walk this offseason. For the Cowboys, there's no need to worry about his market value being that high, considering he turned 32 years old in December. This is a situation that would be great for Dallas in the event Beasley walks and they can't land Tate, because Jackson is everything the team keeps hoping Austin can be. He's also more durable and wouldn't object to playing for a southern team that operates inside a dome, as opposed to entertaining clubs that exist in harsher climates and less favorable playing conditions. We've seen what the Cowboys' offense can be with Austin. Multiply that by 3 when considering Jackson, who has 2,447 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns combined in his last 3 seasons. __ there's something brewing in Tampa Bay, and McCoy might not be on the ingredients list. It's wild to see reports the team will look to move on from the former first-round pick, but there's enough traction on the rumors for us to add him to the Cowboys' wish list. The reason the Buccaneers may be forced into releasing McCoy is based on simple math, because they're cash-strapped by a projected $15.9 million in salary cap space, and the veteran defensive lineman is set to earn $13 million in 2019. From that angle, it makes releasing him an easy call, no matter how much they'd like to keep him. His salary also makes it difficult to trade him, lest the new team assume the current contract, and this could all lead to the 6-time Pro Bowler causing a tsunami by landing in the free agency waters. For the Cowboys, who would see their already dominant D-line become unstoppable with the addition of McCoy to the interior, making him an offer is a no-brainer. The emergence of Antoine Woods has been phenomenal at the 1 tech, but David Irving isn't walking back through the door at the 3 tech, and Maliek Collins is entering a contract year. Tyrone Crawford has also turned heads, but imagining a rotation that includes him behind McCoy with Woods, Lawrence and Gregory all lined up at the same time as the stuffed quarterback nightmares are made of. McCoy hasn't had fewer than 5 sacks in a season since 2011, and nearly hit the 10-digit mark in 3 consecutive years. If he's just loose, you have to at least see what his asking price is, at minimum. __ a productive rotational guy, Curry could be a terrific grab for the Cowboys. Released by the Buccaneers after only 1 season, the decision was mostly predicated upon the fact he was set to hit their ailing salary cap for $8 million in year 2 of his 3-year deal, and not necessarily based on his production to pay value in 2018. Curry has never been a double-digit sack guy, although he did come close with 9 of them in 2014 for the Eagles. Throughout his career though, he's proven to be a solid 3 or 4 sack edge rusher, and that's where the Cowboys could benefit, because placing him behind Lawrence or Gregory on either edge would be a nice complement to someone like Tyrone Crawford. Granted, the Cowboys would like to see a breakout year for former first-round pick Taco Charlton, but If they were willing to wager on Coney Ely 1 year prior, there's no reason to not roll the same dice on a much more consistent Curry, sign him on a 2-year deal commensurate with his agent production, and there's a good chance he'll make the final 53-man roster, followed by giving the Cowboys around 4 sacks in 2019. In 2018, that would have been more than any lineman not named Lawrence, Gregory or Crawford. The experiment at the tight end position needs to be put to bed for the Cowboys this season. Things could not have been messier in the wake of losing Jason Witten to retirement last year, with the team carrying 4 tight ends en route to the unit having negligible impact over the course of the season. There was an anomaly here and there, most notably seen in the breakout game by second-year talent Blake Jarwin in Week 17, but more often than not the Cowboys found themselves lusting for meaningful production from Jarwin, Jeff Swaim, Dalton Schultz and Rico Gathers, with Swaim coming off of another injury-riddled season and now a free agent. Bringing him back would make sense only if the team didn't have another viable option in free agency. Seferian Jenkins could be that option, having delivered much more over the course of his NFL career than has Swaim, and he won't cost much after being released by the Jaguars this offseason. Like Swaim, Seferian Jenkins finished last season on IR, but he reeled in 357 receiving yards and 3 TDs in 2017, and has 824 more career yards and 10 more career TDs than does Swaim. Plus, honestly, the Cowboys aren't looking for a definitive veteran starter. What they crave is production from Jarwin and Schultz, with the jury being out on if they're ready to call it a day on the Gathers project. Seferian Jenkins in a reduced role protects his durability, and gives the Cowboys guaranteed production without holding back the youth movement. At 6'6", 262 lb, he's also a rather large red zone threat. Fleener is a 30-year-old with at least 1 or 2 years of tread left on his tires, and a former second-round pick who entered the NFL with all Pac-12 honors in 2011. He took a step back in 2017 due to a concussion, but delivered 631 yards receiving and 3 TDs 1 year prior. His catch percentage of 73.3% in 2017 was a career best, however, and for a Cowboys team that has suffered more than its fair share of drops, Fleener would instantly have won the best pairs of hands on the team. Like Seferian Jenkins, he could mentor the youth movement while also being a more than viable production option in 2018 and potentially 2019, and wouldn't cost much at all. You'll find a more attractive name in someone like Tyler Eifert, but the former Bengals star has played a total of 6 games in the last 2 seasons and has only 4 starts in his last 3 combined. There's no denying the talent of Eifert, but it's also pointless to sign a player who may not finish the season. Contrarily, Fleener has only missed 9 games in his entire NFL career outside of sitting out 2018 due to having not been signed, which ironically also adds a year to his durability. Considering he can also be obtained on a veteran minimum salary, it's a win-win on all levels.